The other side is you can see the helicopter hovering. And that's photo backstage during production of Day After Tomorrow, shot in West Texas near El Paso while we were stationed at Fort Bliss. As you might know, Whitehawk was a military family personage. And so they'd go everywhere, and he'd get a job wherever he could. Okay, so that was briefly what would happen in the Turner Network chapter. Now, Austin Agent, that was, it's good to get to know somebody in Austin, especially if you live in this area. So this is an area where I would need my notes. I'll just pick and choose whatever I know without my notes. The Newton Boys, that was a film shot up in Austin. And I think some of it was filmed in San Antonio. And Juliana Margulies was the primary female role character, and she was, I think, Matthew McConaughey's love interest. And the trial scene, this extra got to sit next to Juliana Margulies. And this extra was the court artist. In the old days, they didn't allow photographs in the courtrooms. So there'd always be a courtroom artist who had to do renditions of it for different newspapers. So anyway, this fellow is sitting next to Juliana Margulies, yours truly, and we'd only gotten to see 2 or 3 pages of the script. And from what I saw, it was talked about how the brothers got, the Newton boys, were all brothers, how they got arrested simply because one of the Newton boys got shot by one of his own brothers. And that whole deal was they robbed a train, and they were all wearing the white hats, so they know who their brothers were. So they all had white hats. Well, when this brother went from one side of the train to the other, underneath the train, he lost his hat. So he didn't have his hat during the ensuing scene, and came to a shootout, and the brothers didn't know it wasn't a brother because he didn't have his hat on, so he got shot. But anyway, that's how they were caught. He was caught, and then eventually they got to the rest of the gang. And I saw those 2 or 3 pages about the hat incident, and so I asked Juliana Margulies if it was a comedy. And she was real upset with me, and no, it's not a comedy. But anyway, so we stopped conversing at that time. One of the fun things about the Newton boys, we had a candy cart that was available to us in between shooting and all that, all day long. And it was just a magnificent candy cart. You could walk around it, and there was every kind of candy you'd ever want. One of the stars must have written that in his contract, that a candy cart would be available on the set. And so, you know, you could get handfuls of gum, bubble gum, handfuls of any kind of candy. And in between takes, we were in like the first row of the courtroom, prior to, you know, right in front of where the tables are, and the defendants and the lawyers and all that. And Matthew McConaughey and some of the other boys were at one of the front tables, and of course we were in the first row. And Matthew would speak with Juliana, and at one point they were throwing candy at each other. I think, you know, here, have a piece of gum, bonk him on the head or something like that. But anyway, yeah, we were throwing candy at times. It was the greatest thing I'd ever seen, a candy cart on a set. I hadn't ever seen that since. You know, I've seen food items, chips, granola bars, those kind of things, but never have I seen a full candy cart with every kind of candy you ever want to see. And that was on the Newton Boys set. Okay. Moving along swiftly. High-profile character actor. Now, this chapter is one I like because in the early days of Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, one of the owners of it became one of the companies that bought into it was Universal Studios. And this was a time when we were living at Fort Sam, Houston, as a military family. And so I had gotten a job at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. And I worked my way up from being on the train, being a conductor on the train, engineer, all the spots on the train, to working with the entertainment division. And this, in the good old days, they had high-profile character actors. And some of them, you can remember, if you were around then, they'd have shootouts in the western area. And there'd be a guy on the second floor balcony, and he'd be shot, and he'd fall into a big pillow area and all that. But yeah, so the high-profile character actors were kind of like a little better than movie extras. They were like anyway, yeah, you get the idea. So I got to work my way up to a high-profile character actor, and actually there's some photographs in the book of don't tell me, Al Aboard. Al Aboard, who was not All Aboard. All Aboard was his twin sister who ran out of San Antonio, Texas. But Al Aboard, whoa, where are we going? Was a member of the train staff, and he'd get to go and talk with folks when there was like some extra time, if the train was having a little bit of a service problem. So there's Al Aboard at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. Picture over here is another one with in Colorado Springs, Colorado, working with Jim Henson characters. But that's another story. We'll get to that later. All righty, so that was a high-profile character actor. Next on the list of chapters that are lost is Varsity Blues. Now, without all my names and dates and extra resource material, I can tell you, Varsity Blues was a heck of a film to work on. It's about a football team, and we filmed in Austin. And at that time, we had a young child in our family, and I'd got the notice about it, and so I checked with the wife first if I could go up to Austin to work on this film. And she stated, only if you're able to get childcare. And so I found childcare, and the way the scene was described was we would play a patron of a Texas gentleman's club, and I thought, okay. I was thinking in my mind, imagining what a Texas gentleman's club kind of scene they would shoot. Well, so as it came out in the film, they had this gentleman's club, and these high school kids come in, and because the owner likes their football team, he gives them free reign, he gives them drinks, he has the girls work with him and all this and stuff. So what I had to do was just go and sit in a bar and watch go-go dancers. And not only that, they had hired go-go dancers from all over Austin to work on this film, and the go-go dancer that was in our area of the scene said she really didn't know what to do. This is the first time she'd ever done anything like this. And so we said, we kind of told her, well, just do what you naturally do when you're working. And so during the next few takes and rehearsals, she would come by and give me a lap dance. And that was all well and good. All morning long, I got these lap dances. And in the afternoon, after lunch, the AD who worked with the extras, the assistant director who worked with the extras, came over and talked to a group of us and said, there will be no more lap dances. It seems this young lady had talked to the AD at lunchtime, and it wasn't that she didn't like giving the lap dances. It's that she expected tips, which she wasn't getting. So anyway, she was doing a fine job and highly commendable. And it was such a fun film to work on. One day, they needed us the second day, so I worked on it 2 days. And was an MTV production